They're
like
really
the
cool.
signature, you know.
Their guitars went up to 12.
Yeah, because now if you
She was
buy them,
really
you're gonna
nice.
pay like $150.
I really liked her. We got along really good, but I tend to get along with everybody.
Yeah.
And he
was kind of a jerk, but maybe it's just because I'm a girl and he's a guy, but I don't know.
So, anyway, back to psychedelic music, and who were some of you think the pioneers of?
I don't know.
Like
the Beatles, fucking, all them groups that was taking acid, dropping a ton of yellow sunshine and shit, and then picking up their instruments and going on stage with that shit. It's just that simple. Take some acid and your music automatically was, without a doubt, scientifically, medically proven it was definitely coming from a lysergic diethylamide acid type of trip. That was your motherfucking ass.
Oh, yeah.
And actually there was so many that drug historically, if you were a part of the culture, then that that cover up is still being covered up, because it's all a part of the whole drug scam.
Right.
That was just one that they used to try to wipe us the fuck out, because they knew. And look at what you look at is how many deaths.
Would you say that like who the deaths that you think is like a planned obsolescence for like a percentage of
systematically dealing with the governments, and yeah, absolutely, for population control. They have to make sure that X amount of millions of people die every fucking year. And believe me, they do a good job of keeping the quota the fuck up. As a matter of fact, they got overkill going big time. Straight up overkill.
They were the first funk. They were the first real funk. And then George comes along and steals it all, but no one really knows that.
We do now.
Actually, it was 6 members in TNA. Before doo-wop came out, they had to get the processes and stuff. Before Motown and the Temptations were even wearing processes, I think TNA was the first one.
In the tour, when you guys went on tour, how were they responding to each other?
The dynamic.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'd say it was pretty sketchy. It was pretty psych. Because sometimes they would just be lovely, hot, just so hot and cold. One minute everybody's in love with the world and each other, and it's all beautiful. Then the next minute it's like, fuck you, I hate you, get the fuck out of each other. And that was a little hard to take. It was so unpredictable. After a while, nobody wanted to be around that energy, that unpredictable energy that was just so random and so, you know what I mean.
But TNA was like funky. Before acid funk and all that stuff, it was just drug funk. Matter of fact, TNA advised all the rappers to sample their music first. So in doing this documentary, a lot of people will know the truth. The real truth.
It's amazing how you have that one explosive orgasmic plan.
So, you remember the band called TNA? It was down with the. You remember this band? They said that you guys had the same sound as they had, and that they had it first. TNA.
Well, they must be up in their 60s.
Were they sounding like you guys, or were you sounding like them?
No, I think that the groove that they had on, they had like this TNA thing on them.
Okay. The dude is, from what I could tell, about 29 years old, but he said that he was wearing the diaper way before you was. What's up with that?
That was when he was born.
The group TNA, they had the sound before you had the sound of the P-Funk sound?
No, I had 10 to 6.
Oh,
10 to 6.
They say that the group TNA, Tits and Acid, had like
Oh, you mean them old guys?
Yeah.
You know, they do that cover. Oh, what is that cover? Oh, I can't think of it.
TNA is where it's at.
Okay.
First 45 that they released in 1961.
I may have my tickets
on
stub,
TNA
actually.
Records, and it was the Tits and Ass Boogie Parts 1 and 2. And what's really sought after among collectors is
It's the remix.
The extra full version without the fade out in the middle. You know,
Right.
Just, full,
Just
like,
extra
uncut.
phasing.
Yeah.
I think everyone was pissed.
I was
no?
crushed. I mean, frankly, there's nothing like TNA.
Nor will there ever be anything like TNA. It's actually slightly depressing now that I think about it, because it was such a special thing, and now that it's gone, it's kind of it's like a horrific, horrifying, hellacious type of mentality that I developed because of
Tell
this.
us about TNA.
TNA, man, they had a really mad funk groove back in the day. And I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know what to say about them anymore. It's something that's just in your heart. You know? You just got to see them. You just have to understand them and feel them. That's something you can really talk about.
Emotional baggage.
You know what? Some might even say that you were responsible for the whole fucking thing breaking up. You.
No.
No, you're not going to take that responsibility.
Not at all.
Marty always
Narcissistic. Oh, okay.
In love with herself.
I see.
I heard she even had sex with herself.
Of course she did. She was
No.
weird.
We're talking.
Anyway, I can't talk anymore, you know. I must sound like a fool talking, but I don't give a fuck because I say what I want to say, if I get in trouble. Well, I'm sorry, sir, Your Honor. Sorry. Stand, I mean it. But that's how it is for me, you stand. You can't change me. Any cell you put me in won't change me. Any drugs you give me won't change me. That's not true. You give me certain drugs, it'll change me. Good night, my man.
National Cemetery. This is Charles Miller at the National Cemetery.
Hearing will come to order. We will continue with the testimony of Ambassador Francis McNeil, and after that we'll begin with the testimony of Mr. Vogel. Ambassador, I would remind you that you continue under oath as we were during the morning session, and I appreciate your patience in staying over. You commented to me a moment ago that you wanted to try to put your testimony into a context at this point, and I'd be delighted to have you take a couple of minutes to do so, and then we will pick up with the questioning. Okay. Where are the Vogel questions? Go ahead.
I said in response to your...
Could you bring the mic close to you, please? That would help us. Thank you.
Dominate this someday. I said in response to your question that I thought that the fundamental difficulty lay in the lack of a national priority.
Fundamental difficulty of what?
Dealing with narcotics lay in the lack of a national priority, and that this led American officialdom in a couple of cases, which I have detailed in my prepared testimony, to look the other way. In one case, of course, the coddling of Noriega, beyond any time when one could reasonably doubt the Noriega's involvement in drug trafficking to the United States. And in that case, it had to do with the Contras and his supposed value to the United States in helping U.S. policy in Nicaragua. In the other case...
Let me just be sure we lay that out in simple terms. It's your clear testimony as a former official of the State Department, as an ambassador and as a Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, that the State Department, that decisions were made outside of state or in state, but decisions were made by the administration to overlook known narcotics trafficking and the knowledge thereof in the interests of the other policy, being the Contra policy.
A decision was made to put Noriega on the shelf until Nicaragua was settled.
When you say put him on the shelf, would you be more precise?
That is, not to deal with the Noriega problem until after Nicaragua was settled.
Good evening. Do not attempt to adjust your radio. There is nothing wrong. We have taken control as to bring you this special show. We will return it to you as soon as you agree.
Yo, word up, man. Yo, check this out.
You got the good for the okey doke. I bet you wanna get some.